Jennifer Conrad, and I'm the managing editor of the Arizona Scent magazine. And today I'm here with a special guest, Missy Feldman of No Mess With Missy. And she is our April Business Spotlight of the Month. Missy, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
When I met you, it was a couple weeks ago, and you just have such a great story. You are a professional organizer, and you love doing what you do.
I love organizing. Yes.
And, and it's so cool because, I know, like I was doing a little bit of research about you because when I do these podcasts, I like to know a little bit more about like who, like what their background is, where they come from, and why do they start their business. And you are one, you're a transplant just like me. You're from New Jersey, I'm from Kansas. But what's really
Yeah.
interesting about your background is that you were in media and film. So kind of talk about how you move, what moving from New Jersey here. Talk a little bit about your story, and then kind of go into how you started No Mess with Missy.
Yeah, definitely. So I grew up in New Jersey, and ever since high school and college, I was in the film industry. I loved everything about film, and I thought that was going to be my career. So I moved to California for 3 years. And then I realized I really didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. And my wife lived in Arizona at the time. And so I came to check out Arizona and realized I loved it and I could definitely see myself living here. So I love living in Arizona. And, I thought about what do I want to do with my life? What am I passionate about? And I love organizing. I'm very OCD and I love neatness and tidiness. And so I just started Googling like professional organizers and a bunch came up and I'm like, oh my God, this is a thing. So I start reaching out to them and, eventually I was able to subcontract for a bunch of companies. And then I realized, hey, I want my own business. I want to be the boss. I want to have these relationships with these clients. And so that's how No Mess with Missy was created about 6 years ago.
Oh my gosh, I love that story that you found something that you were passionate about and that you were able to turn that into a business. Because when I moved here, I had no idea about professional organization. No idea about moving, about putting everything in the right boxes. Because when I moved cross country, I'm a transplant. I'm from Kansas, moved to Ohio, and then I had gotten a job out here about in 2009 to teach. And it was like, we need you in 2 weeks. I'm like, okay. So I had to throw my life. I didn't have any moving trucks. I threw all my life in a bunch of bags and bins and moved,
Yep.
drove cross country with my dad to Arizona. And when we got to where I needed to, moved in, we opened it and was like, holy crap! It's disorganization. So kind of like talk a little bit. You talk about what inspired you to professionally, organize. But how does your background in media and film, shape your approach to your business?
Yeah, I think it's still that client approach. I did work in retail and I worked at Apple for a couple years, and it was all about finding the right solution, for that customer. So the same goes with the clients today is finding a solution, finding a functional system that works for them that they can maintain, and that makes their life easier and stress free.
I mean, and that's always the key. Is like we want life to be stress free, just easy going, be able to like if we need to find something, it's there. But like if you were to come to my
Yeah.
house, it is chaos. The only thing I have organizational is like a shoe rack, and I put
Let
all
me
my
help
shoes.
you.
I know you just come out. You got to organize my house. You got to come and put like I got a shoe rack and I got my closet. But like even during the winters and stuff like that, I move all my winter clothes. I pack them away. And then I also happen to a lot like I go through these, my friends call it moments of purging. I will clean my house. I will just get rid of everything. Things I had bought that I need, I'll get rid of them and then I'll just buy new. But I mean, I just for
Well,
me it's
that's
like,
not good. That's not good.
well, I know that's not good, but it's just like I like I like to have, I'm kind of a minimalist. I like to have, the space where I can, because I can't function in a disorganized, disorganized space. And, especially it just, I mean, because I'm a high, not a high functioning person, but I just, when I come home, like, I want to be able to come into, an organizing space and something where I can have
Yeah.
that creativity flow. So, let's talk a little bit about, I know that you subcontract for other organizational, professional organization companies. Talk a little bit about how your approach is different from them.
Yeah, I think everyone's great. I love all the organizers that are out there. We're all friends and we all, help each other. I think what makes me a little bit what makes me stand out a little bit more is I'm not judgmental. So, people confide in me. They're sharing their space and I'm really supportive of that, and really just that client connection. I have clients that I see once a month or every other month, and just really building that relationship to the point where, like, there's that trust, there's
Yeah.
that bond, and I just think that that's really special. And as opposed to some other organizers, maybe they go in, it's the job, and they leave. But for me, it's really just keeping that relationship,
Yeah.
and making sure that they're happy.
Well, I mean, it's so important because when when you're going into someone's home, that's that vulnerability. You're coming into somebody else's sanctuary. And for you to share that experience with them, because they're putting their trust in you to be like, hey, and
Mhm.
I don't know if you've seen people, there people who have never had somebody in their home organized, get them organized. You're building that trust. And it's like, and if you can establish that trust, I mean, you're you're changing lives. I think. I mean, from essence of talking is like, do you see a have you seen a lot of different spaces where some are just like people can't function in them, and then when you do organize them, do you see a change?
100%. And I think that's what's so satisfying is, there's lots of clients that, work from home these days and their office becomes the catch-all room. And so once I get in there and we declutter, we organize, I also help with the layout of the room, which way the desk should go. I think you need this piece of furniture, this bookshelf, and we make it all, come together. And I think that's what's so amazing, because I'll get a text the next week and they're like, I was so productive. I did this. And then they'll send me pictures of, like, I hung pictures up and I got wallpaper, and it's becoming their space, their sanctuary, and it's such an amazing feeling knowing that we are changing lives.
And it's so cool because it's a mindset. It's a really like a mindset shift, because if you can go in there and you can clean something, move something around, you're changing the way that people their mode of what they do. Because like for me, it's like here recently when I go home, yes, it's still a little bit of chaos, but like when I start organizing things, I'll do like a dish or something like that. When I know I'm motivated, I'm not going to let it pile up. I'm going to put it away in its section of where it needs to go in a shelf, because I become more productive. So I mean,
Yep.
I'm so much more productive. So I mean, it's like when you go and organize that, it's like you're really helping these people. You're setting them up for success, in my opinion.
I am. I'm setting them up for success.
I know, it's so
Yes.
cool. I know. So let's talk a little bit about, Arizona. People are moving here, 290 people moving here a day. Last year, we had about 56,000 people move here, and they're coming from all over, especially U-Haul. I'm going to give U-Haul a plug. You and you're a mover, professional organizer. We moved from number 8 to number 6. People U-Haul destinations. And so you got people from moving from different parts of the United States, like you and I did. When they move here, like what do you find that they struggle with, especially being Arizona, being in the desert, not knowing like what to expect, 120-degree weather, scorpions or lizards? Because like with me, I had a lizard in my grocery box. I didn't know what to do with it. I threw a shoe at it. Throwing a shoe at it solves problems. I don't know. But I mean, talk
No,
about
no, no.
that.
No shoes no shoe throwing at lizards, okay?
I know.
A
I mean,
scorpion, yes, but lizard, no.
no, I know. So I will never throw a shoe at a lizard again. No lizards were harmed. in this podcast
Okay,
recording.
good. Okay, good. Good. Um, so I do find that, moving is super stressful and, coming to Arizona, getting used to the heat. Yes, but I also think with Arizona, the houses are a little bit, different from, where people come from. Maybe there's not as much storage, or maybe there aren't as many rooms, or there is a pantry or not a pantry. I think just moving in general is getting used to a new space and just figuring out creating that space and where everything should go. Sometimes people have like rooms that need to be multifunctional, needs to be an office and a playroom, or something like that. So just really figuring out where everything should be placed, and everything like that, so that they're set up for success.
Well, I mean, that's amazing. And so, as we continue this conversation, and I was doing a little bit of research about you. I was on your website, and I really liked the fact that you work with clients with ADHD. Talk a little bit about how you kind of some of the biggest challenges that they face, and how you create the sustainable organization system. But also, how did you get involved with that? Why did you incorporate that into your business? That's because that to me is important, because with ADHD, a lot of these people, I mean, they're so hyper functioning, they don't know, they have a hard time kind of, staying with one thing.
Yeah, I think that I'd say like more than 50% of the people that do reach out do suffer with that. And I think that's, it kind of goes hand in hand, like the organizing, creating a system, it all is in the same, realm of things. And so that's why I made sure that it was very specific towards clients that need that little extra help, because they are overwhelmed. There is no system set up in place. And, just really working with the client one on one so that it's not so overwhelming, and just starting in small spaces and creating a better system, and then just giving certain tips here and there as to ways that they can stay organized, stay maintained. And I offer a maintenance program too, which really helps the client stay up to date so things don't get so out of control to the point where we need another, like, full day of the whole organizing, that we do the first day we get going. It's mostly just more of maintaining that system.
Yeah. I mean, what do you see that they struggle with when you like with their homes? Do you see, like, I mean, is it just like if they misplace something, and then does when you come in and help them, what has been their view of like kind of what you've done? Is it help them, get in a place not to be so overwhelmed?
Yeah, so mostly it's just not having a system, and I think that's what's so overwhelming. So the very first time that we do go into the home, we take everything out, we declutter, and then when we put it back, we really do ask those questions so that it's specific to their needs. And everyone's different, right? Everyone has like a different drop zone when they come in, or a different system that they have. And so it's really just creating a system that works for them. So it may not work for me. I may not agree with that system, but if it works for them, I'm okay with it. Sometimes things need to be visible. We always say, like, keep counters clear, but sometimes you need to see it. And that's okay. We'll just make it so that it's not too overwhelming. But I understand that some things need to be like, you know, visibly accessible. And that's okay. So just really, creating that system for them, that helps them to maintain it. And I think product is also a huge, thing as well. So, in drawers, we love to have drawer dividers. So everything has a zone, everything has a place. So in your junk drawer, this is where the batteries go, this is where the keys go. One thing I also love doing is labeling. I'll label the actual drawer or like the inside of a cabinet so that when you're putting the dishes away, this is where this goes. It doesn't go in this cabinet. This says mixing bowls or baking.
Yeah.
And so it goes back in that place.
Well, and that is so important too, because like you know exactly where something is, and when you go in, you know exactly where something is, and you can find it. Because like with me, you know, you know what, I probably need to be your next client, because like when I go in to my house, I'll misplace things. Like this morning on my way out the door, I was looking for, I have two set of car keys, and I was looking for the car keys that had the key to my office. I found the other key that, the other set of car keys that did not have the key to my office. But I was like, well, where did I put that key? Well, I left it in the door the night before. I left it like hanging the door. I mean, thank gosh I have another door. Nobody, came into my condo, but like, I mean, but like I will misplace things and it drives me crazy because like I know I need to be somewhere and I'm like, or I'll put something away, it goes there. And so it's just like I think like by having those labels and what you're doing, it creates that kind of that structure, that foundation so that they're not having those kind of panic attacks. They know exactly what or whatever that they suffer from. Like I have a system that works for me.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, it's. I mean, you're saving lives, Missy. I'm like, you're saving lives. You're keeping people in this like organized, and that's what I need. I mean, so let's talk a little bit about building No Mess Missy in Arizona. Since starting your business in Phoenix, what kind of has been the biggest lesson that you've learned about running a business here?
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, which I knew. I knew running a business would be a lot of work, and it's what's it called? Like it's a lesson, right? Like every day, I still feel like I still am learning something about my business, and things are always changing, and technology is always getting crazier. So just really keeping up with everything and staying on top of everything. Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. And Arizona, we all know is it's a growing bed for entrepreneurship. And that's one of the reasons why I love living in Arizona is that you get to meet people from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different cultures. So, kind of talk to me a little bit. How has like connecting with other business owners, I mean, other clients, kind of help grow your brand?
Yeah, so I mean, the great thing about my job is I'm in a new home every day. I'm constantly meeting new people, being introduced to new people, and I love that because I would have never known about certain networking groups or certain mom groups, or there's just so many groups and organizations that I just didn't know existed. Um and so I love that part of my job too, is just meeting all these new amazing people, entrepreneurs, and just networking and getting the word out there.
I mean, it's amazing. So, like I said, I like to do my research. I no, I was like I'm looking on your site a little bit. It kind of says that you expanded your services, right? To include unpacking, staging, and maintenance. Kind of talk a little bit about those offerings and what has like your clients, what's been the response like? Especially kind of I mean, in Arizona's housing market, we've got so many people moving here. And have you worked with people who just moved here, who just bought a house?
Yes, 100%. And I think what's so important, the reason why I did expand the services is because I want to be like that one stop shop kind of deal, so that you're not calling 20 different people and setting up all these things, right? It's like, okay, this person is going to help me. I will help coordinate the moves. I work with the movers, so I won't physically move you, but I have a moving company that I work with. Same with like junk removal, same with if you need closet design, garage design, anything like that. It's a one-stop shop. So you're not stressed out making everything happen. So for the moving in particular, having that smooth transition is, we will pack you up. Like say you're moving in Arizona, we will pack you up. We know your stuff. We color color code all the labels on the boxes. We do inventory. And then on the other side, we unpack. We know your stuff. We know what we're gonna unpack. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just making that seamless transition. And with moves, it's like we will unpack you and you can literally cook dinner that night. You can sleep in your bed that night. You know where everything is. And so it's just that you're not having boxes piled up for months and months, and you're unpacking a little bit every day. It's like we will come in as a team, unpack your entire home, and get you settled and organized and ready.
Well, I mean, that's amazing because I've never seen any professional organizing companies actually do what you do, coming in with the move, packing and moving and unpacking. Because I mean, I've seen people move. I helped a friend move, and it's awful. I'm like, I mean, moving up boxes, moving upstairs. Like, well, I got to, I moved a friend from one condo to another about a year and a half ago, and I was dying. I'm like, I am not a mover. Like, you know, I mean, and just moving to, and especially when I've had to deal with moves, I mean, I'm probably your ideal client. I just throw stuff in a box and like, hey, let's go. Like, I'll just
No, no.
unpack. I know you're like Jennifer. I need to definitely come to your house. So I'm your ideal client. So I'm like, I mean, and just because I've never seen professional organizers actually do that. So did you see a need for that in the community? In a need for what I mean,
A hundred.
and 100%. And then like, what has been the feedback?
Oh, they're ecstatic. They're so happy. They had no idea that this was a thing, right? And that's why I don't think a lot of people do know that people like us exist, but we do. We're out there. And we just want to help. We just want to get you settled in, organized, and just stress free. That's the most important
Yeah.
thing.
Well, do you see other professional organizing companies or do what you're doing right now, or is that is kind of unheard of? Are you creating a niche industry?
I think that there are other organizers that do packing and unpacking the whole transition, but I don't think that they coordinate it as much as I do. So like that the client doesn't need to contact all these people. I will do all of that.
I mean, that's amazing. I mean, because like literally, you're taking the stress. If they're doing a cross country move, or they're moving cross country, or even just to another city like Gilbert or something like that,
Yep.
you're literally taking the stress off of them, so they can focus on doing what they do, is like living lives, or being a mom, being a dad. I mean,
Yep.
that's truly amazing.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about growth, future plans. So I know in the past year we just talked about you expanded your team, you built strong partnerships. Kind of what has been that experience been like, and where do you see no mess with Missy in 5 years?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Maybe an exciting
Honestly,
question too.
I just, I just I want to keep growing. There's so many home like you said how many people are moving here daily, and it's just like they're constantly building these condos and houses everywhere I drive. I'm like, "Oh my god, another building, another community." And so there's just so many homes, and I want to do it all. I want all the homes to be organized. I just want to help as many people as possible, and having a team now makes that possible. And so I just want to keep doing that, keep expanding and keep helping people.
I mean, that's amazing. You're gonna have your professional organizing empire. I mean, I can see it now. Your moving truck. No mess with Missy. I can see it.
Ooh, you're
Well,
onto something. You're onto
well,
something.
if you need somebody who does branding, I'm here. So
Okay.
yeah, so we talked about what's next for you, what's next for your business, any upcoming projects or specific things that in Arizona that you're excited about.
So, I mean, I'm excited all the time about all the organizing things. I think something that I want to maybe venture out to, I think the more I'm doing these podcasts and speaking gigs, I'm getting more comfortable because I am shy when it comes to this kind of stuff. But I think that there's so much to be said about organizing. So I think maybe doing some like webinars, maybe some like workshops. That's something kind of in the back of my mind that I maybe wanna do.
That's amazing. So we're about ready to hit time, but talk about like what's one piece of advice that you can give to someone who wants to bring more organization and calm into their life.
Ooh. So I would say just starting small would be the best thing. Is, I always say like maybe just set a timer for 10, 15 minutes, focus on, your office drawers, or your kitchen, pick the top drawers. For 15 minutes, just start to declutter, pull everything out, get rid of anything you don't need. You can donate, trash, recycle, and just doing that, you're going to feel a lot lighter. And if you can tackle that small little space, just imagine everything else you can do.
I mean, that's amazing. And then also for any other, like, what's your advice for any other small business owners, entrepreneurs in Arizona, if they want to get involved in professional organizing, or it could be something else? and that they're, they're passionate about, what is one piece of advice that you would give to them?
I would say well, obviously don't give up. There's a couple it's a roller coaster, so sometimes you're, a mix of emotions, but just don't give up. If you really are passionate, it will work. And I think just joining, we talked about, all the other communities out there, just joining different networking and communities out there. I think that will really help.
That's amazing. Missy, where can our audience find you?
Yeah, so my website is nomesswithmissy.com. I have Instagram is at no mess with Missy. Same for TikTok and Facebook. I don't use much, but yeah, anything is basically no mess with Missy.
Okay, that's amazing. Missy, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and thank you so much for what
Thank
you're
you for
doing.
having me.
No, I'm so excited because, well, one, I mean, I need some calm in my life. I need someone to come organize my house. I was just there this morning, and everything was all over the place because I am a clean freak. I like to declutter. I like to move things. Like, I mean, I have your typical OCD too, because like my carpet has to match up right with the couch, or I move it around. And I started deep cleaning my house like 5 days ago, and my carpet is still like rolled up. I haven't moved anything. I have still wander. I'm like, it's just like it's just still there, and so it's like, gotta find the time to put it, put everything back together. But with like busy life, I probably need you to come and organize my house. So, anyways,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.